What's up everybody, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Derek, and in today's video we're going to be unboxing all of these cases for the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. In this video, in addition to unboxing, I'll go ahead and apply it to the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 and then give you my honest impression and review of each and every single one of these cases, and then hopefully it helps you identify what's the best case that you're going to be able to use for your brand new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. Let's go and jump right into it. Be the Unicorn Beetle grip case by SUPCASE, and I've always liked SUPCASE because they always tend to have really good quality type products. And so you can see here that this has the drop protection, military standard, and then on the back there it advertises scratch resistant, 360 protection, shock resistant, dust proof, and accurate cutouts. And so I would actually believe SUPCASE because I've had so many of their products in the past, anything from phone cases to Nintendo Switch 2 cases. So SUPCASE is definitely a brand that I stand behind. Opening up the box, let's go ahead and pull everything out. And we have more plastic in here, so let's go ahead and take out of the plastic. And then right out of the box, you can see that there's going to be a MagSafe ready section. So for those of you who like to do MagSafe charging and or any type of MagSafe accessories, this is a case that's going to be working for you. We then have some kind of just paperwork over here. And then we have the front portion right here. You can actually see that this case is two pieces because it's not actually attached to each other. So this is actually going to be a really protective case because on the right-hand side over here, you can see that it is going to have hinge protection for your Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7, but then it's not just hinge protection, it's actually going to double down as a kickstand. And so this is actually a really cool feature because that means now you can actually have your phone open and then you can use this as a kickstand to lay down on the desk or whatever it may be. So let's go ahead and put the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 into this. Let's start off with the bottom, and let's go ahead and just kind of snap the bottom portion into place like that. There are no adhesives for this case except for maybe the top portion where there is going to be a built-in screen protector. And let's go ahead and take the interior side of the screen protector off, and let's pull like that. Make sure that your screen is clean on your Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. And then let's go ahead and place the top portion or the front portion of the case onto the phone there. And then let's kind of just press down to make sure that the screen protector adheres to the front portion. And there you go. So this is actually, let's pull this off really quick, the outer screen protector, and there we go. Let's pull that out. And so now this is going to be the new home for your Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. All of the cutouts are nice and precise. So you can see the mics are right there, and then the USB-C port, and then the speakers on the right-hand side. You can then see the power button / the fingerprint button right there with the volume rockers just to the left of that. And then at the top portion, again, we have that hinge that doubles down as a kickstand. And then you then can see on the sides, on both sides actually, it's going to be really grippable with this kind of texturized stripes right there. And then same thing for the other side. So whenever you're holding your phone like this, it's nice and grippable. I did just find out here that there is going to be a little bit of a section here for if any like wrist straps or lanyards. And then on the back side again is going to be that MagSafe compatible section. So whenever you open up your phone with this case on it, you're then going to see that this kind of hinge protection becomes kind of a hump on the back, which I thought I would hate, but it actually gives like kind of a little bit of grip here. So whenever I'm holding it like this, it actually feels really good because now I feel a little bit more comfortable holding my super expensive, fragile flipping phone in my hand, because now my finger can sit right here and provide counter pressure onto my palm. So it's really, really easy to hold. In terms of holding in my palm, this section right here at the bottom is really comfortable. You can see that it is raised up a little bit because I'm assuming that's where science says that our phones typically land whenever we drop them. And so whenever your phone is going to be landing like this, or maybe it's closed and it lands like this, it is going to be nice and protected. And then you can also see the top portion is symmetrical to the bottom portion, so that way it's all around protection. Overall, I am a huge fan of this case. I do like the fact that it has a built-in screen protector, and you can actually see that the screen protector goes around the cameras, and then the actual flash, the LED flash on the front portion of the phone is actually going to be underneath the screen protector. So this is actually really, really cool. And one of the things that I'm super psyched about is the fact that this thing is not just protection, it's also going to be kind of like a fidget thing for me, but also going to be a kickstand as well. So that way I can open it up just like this and then place my Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 onto the desk like that. In terms of weights, I would actually say that this adds nominal weights. The fact that it does provide so much protection, it has kind of like this little hinge protection section, it doesn't add as much weight as I thought it would. It feels like the plastics are going to be protected and durable without creating a brick in your pockets. Let's go ahead and move on to the next case. Okay, so continuing on with more Samsung Galaxy Z Flip cases, we then have a case by Owkey. And again, this is going to be a little bit more of what I assume is going to be a more simplistic case. So let's go ahead and open it up and let's check and see what's inside. And this is just a Ziploc, pretty much, a really high quality Ziploc. And then let's take this out right there. And this is going to be the Samsung Galaxy Flip case by Owkey. So I'm not familiar with this brand at all. Honestly, I do like the quality and the feel of it. You can see here in the inside, there isn't going to be any adhesives. So it looks like it's just going to snap onto the phone case. And it is a kind of one piece phone case that is attached by these little rubber thingies right there. And then there is no built-in screen protector on this particular case. Another thing that you also probably already noticed is going to be the fact that it is MagSafe ready. So if you have any of those MagSafe chargers, the wallets, any of those type of accessories, this is going to work for your Samsung Galaxy Z Flip as a case. So here we have the Flip, and let's go ahead and put it in there, bottom first, and then let's just go and open the top here. There we go. And just slip it in, snap it in, bing, bing, boom. Really, really sleek design. This is the epitome of kind of just a minimalist case. It fits perfectly in your hand. Everything is smooth. You can see that there is cutouts for the power button / fingerprint button, and then the volume rockers, the cutouts for the bottom portion for the mics, as well as the USB-C port and the speaker are nice and precise. There is no real texture aside from this being kind of like smooth plastic. I don't quite know how to explain the texture of it, but I can see this getting pretty slippery. And then on the sides here, while it is black TPU, it's not something that has any like texturized grip. There's no kind of like ridges or anything like that. It's again really, really minimalistic. And so you can see here that there is no hinge protection, but overall that's not too bad. You can see here that this little rubber kind of hairpin looking thing, that's the little rubber piece that actually holds the case together. So whenever you do open up the phone, you can then see that the hinge is hidden, and then the bumper on the top portion here gives a few millimeters of protection for your outer display. Hopefully you have a screen protector on that nonetheless. And again, remember that this case does not come with a screen protector, nor does it have a built-in screen protector. But on the inside of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 with this Owkey case, you can see it's pretty much just again, a simplistic, minimalistic design. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can see here that the cutout is ever so slightly just going to be etched out for the USB-C port, and the same thing for the fingerprint reader and the power button there. But overall, this case barely adds any type of weight. And so if you're one of those phone users who wants their case to be bare minimum for protection and just kind of like design, this is probably one of the best cases that I can find. And again, I'm not overly familiar with the Owkey brand, but they don't disappoint in terms of quality. And then also, I believe it's relatively affordable as well, comparatively to other cases. Something to know that while you are holding your phone with this case on it, these corners are nice and rounded and smooth. So that way, if you are holding in your kind of palm like this, it doesn't super dig into your palm, kind of the fleshy part of your palm. And again, it's really, really comfortable to hold. Only thing that I wish this particular case had was maybe a little bit more gripability, some type of grip textures on the side. So that way, whenever I am holding the phone, it's not as kind of slippery. Overall, I like this case, but let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so now we have another SUPCASE, a case for the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. This is going to be the Unicorn Beetle Pro or the Unicorn Pro Beetle. I'm just kidding, I know it's actually Unicorn Beetle Pro, but this is going to be drop protection, and then it offers the same kind of advertisements as the other SUPCASE that we reviewed earlier. It's going to be scratch resistant, 360 protection, shock resistant, dust proof, and then accurate cutouts. So let's go ahead and open this particular case up. Open up the box here, and pulling it out, it's a huge case. I mean, look at this thing. This is like the size of a quarter pounder. So why is it so thick? Oh, I see. So we get obviously our paperwork and whatnot, but then this is foam, and then that's why it's so thick, is because this is actually like a kind of a belt clip and a case at the same time. So you have this little feature right here, and then this is actually going to release the actual case. So the actual case, this is the actual case. This is the belt clip that you would essentially be able to rotate this little clip right here and then put it onto your belt or your waist or wherever it is that you're going to be putting your phone while you are in motion. So this is actually really interesting because I actually haven't used a belt clip like this since like 2007, and honestly I actually really like the design of this. I think it's kind of amazing that the actual cell phone itself is going to fit inside this kind of cute wallet size belt clip. But again, once we get the case on the actual phone, I'll put it into the belt clip carrier and then we'll check and see how it looks. Here we have the SUPCASE Unicorn Beetle Pro, and you can see here that again it's a two-part case. The back portion is going to be hard plastic. The inside seems to have kind of these hexagonal shapes for, I'm assuming, shock absorption, and then you can see this little kind of place here. That's actually going to be on the back side for a kickstand. So you could actually prop up your phone horizontally and or vertically, so that way you can consume your media. On the back side, you can see that there are little grips here. These are little grips to protect the back side of this section here, so that way it doesn't get super scratched up. And then at the top of this back side of this case, you can see the hinge protection. I'm not really a hinge protection type case guy, but I'm actually starting to dig on these cases because once your phone is open and the hinge is open like this, it kind of gives your finger a little bit of place to rest for that counter pressure, for just a little bit more of gripability. But in terms of gripability, we have some, it looks like either some carbon fiber or maybe some aramid fiber type material right here, or maybe it's just texturized plastic, I'm not sure. There is a little bit of a lanyard holder right there for wrist straps, and then on the front portion you can see that this actually comes with a built-in screen protector. I'm not quite sure if the screen protector is plastic or glass, but you do have to peel the front and the back screen protectors in order for it to go ahead and be placed appropriately onto your Flip 7. So here is the Flip 7, and let's go ahead and put the bottom in first. So let's just open up the hinge there and then slide the bottom in. You hear that snap. Just make sure that it's nice and set in, making sure that you push down to the bottom so that way there is no gap at the bottom there. And so that is the case without the front display. So that's actually pretty cool. If you want like a really weird display, you could definitely do it like that. I guess it's cool that SUPCASE gives you that option, but for the full experience, let's go ahead and put the front side on as well. So let's peel off the interior screen protector, and then let's go ahead and place it onto the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip front display, and everything is lined up, and snap it into place. And I want to say right off the bat that this is a really protective and sturdy case. It feels like you're holding one of those like military grade satellite phones where it's just kind of like, hey, I'm gonna chuck this thing at my friend's head just to check and see if I can break my friend's head, or do I break my case? That's how sturdy this case feels. And so again, this is a built-in screen protector, and you can see here that the camera cutouts are nice and accurate. And then once you open up the case like this, the hinge opens up just so that way, again, you have that kind of back hinge area, which where I'm finding I actually really like to rest my finger on that, so that way I can have the bottom portion of the case sitting in my palm, and then my finger resting on the middle portion of the case where that hinge protection is, and it just kind of gives me additional grip. I do really like that a lot. And so on the inside of this case, you can then see that everything is nice and cut out, and then you can see that everything is just going to be in place for its fitment respectfully. And then you can see there that there's just a little bit of color showing through. I think that's by design, just so that way your phone color does shine through. This area where the color is poking out and showing a little bit is probably just going to be because I have the red version of the Flip, but I'm assuming if you have the black version of this phone, then you probably won't see those colorations too much because it's all just going to kind of blend in. But overall, I like this case. All the cutouts are nice and precise. There's the USB-C port, there's the speaker grill, and then obviously you have your fingerprints, your volume rockers, your power button also, and then your lanyard thing. So this case is really, really cool, but it's not done yet, because of the fact that we still have to talk about this thing. So whenever you're putting this thing on your belt, or maybe your shoulder strap on your book bag, or wherever it is that you're going to be attaching this to, this is a hard shell. You can tell that there is a little bit of texture there. This is all hard plastic. The only part then here that's not hard plastic is going to be this section right here. This seems a little bit more padded. Maybe it's like a little bit more clothy. And so you have, again, this section right here at the top. This is going to release and also clamp down on your phone. So I don't know how you would want to put this particular phone case into the belt holder. Honestly, for me, if I was going for like pure protection, I would make sure that this exterior display is hidden, so that way I would actually place it in like this. But it doesn't actually have to be that way. If you wanted to show your actual screen, you could actually place it bottom first, and then you could then push in, and so that is your case, that's your phone, that's kind of like everything all in one bundle. So this is really, really cool. In order to remove your phone from this kind of belt clip carrying case, you would press on this section right here, and then you would pull the phone out. So it's interesting. In order to put your phone in here, it has to go into this bottom kind of crevice here, and then also you have to put your phone in horizontally. If you try to put your phone in vertically, it just doesn't fit. But overall, I think this is a very neat kind of contraption. I feel like this is super ultra durable. And don't forget that you do have this kind of belt clip mechanism on the back. Obviously, you don't have to put it on your belt. You could put it on your shoulder strap of your book bag or your purse or wherever it is that you're going to be putting your phone. And then this kind of belt mechanism, this clamp mechanism, does rotate also. It's super, super stiff in terms of rotating. I'm not quite sure if it's because it's a new case or if that's designed to be that way, which I get both sides, so I'm happy nonetheless. One thing that I do want to call out is the fact that once you have your phone in this case, you cannot open your phone. You can't flip open your phone in any way, shape, or form until you take it out. That's why I would say if you want to not have to take your phone out of the case every time, put your display on the outside, because once it's in there, you can't flip this open. This is keeping it from opening, and then this has a little bit of curvature, so that way, again, the flip doesn't open. But it's actually really, really cool. I think this is one of the more expensive cases that I purchased, but overall, I'm not hating on it at all because, I mean, you get a lot for what you pay for. Let's go ahead and move on to the next case. Next up, we have a rugged protective case. I'm not quite sure who the maker is of this, but it says it's drop resistant, and I'm not quite sure what logo that is. Let's see. Okay, I think this is VEGO for the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. So this is, again, going to be a rugged protective case. It advertises that it has scratch resistance with a great shell and great tactility. Impact cushion technology safeguards your phone. Rugged protection and exquisite workmanship. And then friendly customer service. That's always a win. And so let's go and open this box up. Let's see what this is all about. All right, so that's a pretty simple unboxing. It looks like they provided some screen protector cleaners in here because this blue portion here is actually going to be a film for a built-in screen protector. But then also looks like you have some adhesive stickers here. So I'm not quite sure where that goes. I'm sure if I read the instructions, I would know perfectly. But just from an immediate impression, this case feels cheap. I feel like kind of all the plastics on the side, they're all like really hard plastic. There's maybe a little bit of flex to it. And then even like on the inside where it's a little bit more shock absorption-ish, quote unquote, it's kind of like I don't know, hard plastic as well. So I'm not sure if that's truly shock absorbing. And then on the top here, again, this blue section is going to be a built-in screen protector. You can see that there are going to be 2 tabs that we had to pull up. But one thing that kind of interests me about this case is going to be the fact that you have a kickstand and or maybe like a metal pop socket type thing. But then also this section right here, this is a hinge protection, but it's kind of like a flexible hinge protection. You can see here that it will cover up the hinge on your Flip 7, and then also when it opens up, it kind of slides into the case. I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick it up, but there's like kind of a little crevice right here, and when you open up the case, it kind of slides in like that. So when your phone is open, you don't have like a bulge of plastic hinge protection over here because it slides in. So that's actually pretty cool. And so let's go ahead and put the Z Flip 7 in here. Let's see how it feels and looks. All right, so here's the Z Flip 7. Let's go ahead and put the bottom in first, as always. Just snap it in like that. Perfect. And then let's go ahead and unpeel the interior screen protector. And then I guess let's place it like this. And everything should just snap into place like that. And there you go. So let's remove the front screen protector. I am actually kind of wishing that the kind of TPU is a little bit more flexible, just a little bit more, I don't know, less plasticky feeling, maybe a little bit more smoother to the touch. And this back section, it's literally just hard plastic. I mean, honestly, I would have liked to have seen some type of additional material aside from just plastic, but you can see that it does have a lot of textures. And then you can see that this kind of kickstand area pokes out ever so slightly, and then you can go ahead and open up the kickstand like this, which if I was going to be 100% brutally honest with you, this tension in the kind of kickstand thing feels cheap, and so I feel like after maybe a few hundred opens and closes of this will probably get loose, and then it'll eventually just kind of start flapping everywhere. So there's that, but I do like the fact that you do have that option. This allows you to open your phone and keep it open at like on a vertical stance, but also allows you to keep your phone open horizontally also, so that way you can consume your media. But because this case has the kickstand thing here, it is not MagSafe ready. In terms of the front display, you can see here that the screen protector is nice and cut out. I don't really know if this is a plastic screen protector or a glass screen protector, but if you look very closely, there is a little bit of a dot matrix. So I'm assuming this is a plastic screen protector because it's not adhering to your front display, it's just sitting on top of it. So now let's talk about the hinge protection here. This is something, like I said, I was pretty excited about because when you do have your phone closed like this, it is protecting your hinge, at least most of it. There's a little bit there. And then when you open up your phone like that, your hinge protection disappears because it kind of slides into the back portion right there. However, the thing is when your phone is closed, look at that gap right there. There's so much, because I don't believe there's anything retractable inside here. So whenever your phone is closed, there's just an excess of hinge protection right here. So now that you can see that there's a little bit of a gap between the actual hinge and the hinge protector, I think that may actually trap more dirt, because let's say I throw this in my pocket or my book bag and then dirt gets trapped and lodged between the actual hinge and the hinge protector, and then when I open it, I'm pretty much force feeding any of that debris that gets caught between the hinge and this little protector portion into the inside of my phone. So there's that. I'm not a huge fan of that. This is, I don't know, I kind of wish that they had a little bit more, I don't know, something. I know that, you know, I'm not an engineer, so I don't exactly know what could be improved here. But again, this kind of hinge protection area, it is, yeah. It's excessive. I would actually prefer the kind of SUPCASE hinge protection that we saw earlier in the video to be on this case instead of just something that kind of is flimsy plastic. I do believe that this case is a little bit more on the affordable side of the wallets. And then also, obviously, there's going to be cutouts for the buttons for the volume rocker, as well as the power button / fingerprint reader. The cutouts at the bottom there are going to be for the mics, the USB-C port, as well as the speaker grill. And then overall, I would say that even though this case is going to be kind of like sturdy and durable. It's not quite comfortable to hold, maybe because of the fact that the black TPU over here feels more like cheap plastic than it actually feels like rubberized TPU. I don't know if there's different levels of TPU, but I feel like this is on the cheaper side of TPU material. In terms of opening up the phone like this, I kind of feel like the top portion slides in and out a little bit. You can actually see it right there. I mean, when I opened up the phone, it slides open, and I know that they gave an adhesive strip, and I'm assuming that that's probably supposed to be going up here. So if you do purchase this case, again, you'll probably have to add that adhesive strip. But overall, when you're holding this case, it feels good. I mean, like I said, the perimeter of this case feels cheap. So whenever you're holding it like this, it does feel a little bit, I don't know, not as comfortable in the palm of your hand. And the backside right here is actually astonishing to me because of the fact that I've just been reviewing this case. I haven't taken it anywhere, and this case is already starting to wiggle. Here, look at this. So I don't recommend this case, even if it is more economical. I don't think that this is a super high quality case. There's just too many things wrong with it right out of the bat, and also too many things that had potential for things to go wrong. So even if this is a little bit more on the economic side, there are probably cases with linear prices that you could purchase and get better value. Let's go ahead and move on to the next case. Okay, so here we have the Ringke case, and let's go ahead and go into it. And here we are. There's nothing else inside of here. And then we just have a Ringke clear case. Ringke has always been a case manufacturer that I've liked. In terms of product quality, I feel like Ringke is up there with Spigen and SUPCASE and the other big name manufacturers for case accessories. But overall, this case again is going to be a clear case. You can see since that it is clear, there is no MagSafe support here. And then on the inside here, it looks like we get a sticker, and then we have some adhesive, and then we have some instructions on where to put said adhesives. So here's the Galaxy Z Flip 7. Let's go ahead and close it up, and then let's go ahead and place the bottom in first, just like that. And then let's go ahead and close the top portion, and there it sits on your Galaxy Z Flip 7. And so the first thing that I want to say about this particular case is going to be the fact that this is the case you're going to want to buy if you want minimal protection, but to want to also show off your actual case. Like, for instance, I have the Coral Red Z Flip 7, and this is a case that's going to show off that Coral Red. It does provide protection, and all the cutouts and kind of the volume rocker section, all the cutouts right there, they're all really nice quality. They're all really accurately cut out. And then on the side here, there's a little bit of texture, just so that way whenever you are holding your phone, there's a little bit more grip. And then on the front side for your front display, you can actually see that there's a little bit of a lip here on your actual front display, so that way if you so happen to drop your phone, again, hopefully you have a screen protector on your outer display, but this is going to provide a little bit more protection just in case it lands face down. But ultimately you can see that this is a minimalistic case and there is no hinge protection here. This is a really light case, and I want to make sure that you know that this case feels really good. I can see that it does have high potential to get slippery, especially if you have oily hands or whatever, but ultimately when you open up the phone, it's really going to allow you to enjoy just like the natural organic engineering feel of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. You can see here that the corners at the bottom are nice and rounded, so whenever you are holding your phone in your palm like this, it is nice and comfortable. And again, there is a little bit of grip here and there to make sure that whenever you are holding it like this, it's not going to just slip out of your hands. So I actually really like this case. There are a few things that this case, such as a MagSafe ready accessory area, and then also a kickstand. So even though I am a fan of Ringke, this case isn't my favorite. Again, this is like a truly minimalist design type case because you want to show off your phone type thing. But at the same time, there's kind of a lot of drawbacks to it. I am quite happy that the lip is actually going to be elevated. And I actually just realized that the lip here is lower towards the kind of hinge portion of the screen, and the lip gets a little bit more kind of beefy towards the top portion of the screen to protect your cameras. This is also going to allow for your phone to lay down flat on the desk, and then also kind of like your mental comfort where you could place this phone face down on your desk, and then you could see that your lenses, your camera lenses, are nice and protected. For what you're paying for, I don't think you can beat this. Again, this is just going to be for kind of those very niche people who want to just have the minimalistic type case and show off their phone as much as possible. Let's go ahead and move on to our last case. All right, so let's go ahead and put the case onto the actual phone. Off camera, I already went ahead and peeled off the adhesive strips, and that's going to, again, be for both sides. So let's start off with the bottom portion here, making sure that you're placing the phone in as most accurately as possible, so that way once you press on the adhesion strips, that the adhesion strips are going to stick to where they're designed to stay. So that's the bottom portion right there. And then let's go ahead and apply the top portion. Again, just making sure that you're lining everything up before you press down on the adhesion strips. And so let's go ahead and press down once we have everything in alignment. And so just making sure that we're pressing on any of those places where the adhesion strips were, and then also making sure that you press down on this yellow area, so that way this yellow area doesn't kind of warp, because there is a sticker under here and you want to make sure that this yellow area doesn't warp. So overall, I do like this case. I do want to say that the bottom case, where you're actually going to be holding your phone like many of us do, this portion is not going to dig into the kind of fleshy area of your palm. You can see here that the case is generally really well designed to grip your actual phone. I don't know if you are required to use the adhesive strips, as in I don't know if this case would fall off of the phone if you didn't use the adhesive strips, or maybe if the adhesive strips wore out, then would this case fall off. Fortunately, Spigen did provide us some extra adhesive strips for those of us who like to switch cases regularly. So in terms of just overall design, this is a really comfortable case. I do want to mention that the bottom portion of the case here is actually, again, going to be a little bit more coarse. It kind of feels like you're touching sandpaper, but it's not harsh to the skin. You can see here that the fingerprint reader and the volume rocker are nice and cut out precisely. And then same thing for the mic, the USB-C port, as well as the speaker grill. And then also for me, I just want to say that yellow, navy blue, and coral red are going to be hard colors to just match up. And so I think if you had the black or the blue version of the Z Flip 7, this case would look much, much more better. Because of the fact that I have the coral red Z Flip 7, this is going to stick out like a sore thumb. Overall, this case is really nice. I do want to say that this is a relatively affordable case. It's not perfect by any means. Also on the front display, this kind of yellow trim is actually going to provide a few millimeters of protection for your front display, just in case you so happen to drop it. And then also, this case is actually relatively affordable. Obviously, Spigen tends to make really high quality cases at a more affordable price. The things I want to call your attention to for this case is the fact that there is no built-in kickstand, that there is no hinge protection, and then also the fact that underneath here it is going to be a MagSafe ready accessory case. So that way, if you are one of those people that have the MagSafe accessories, you could go ahead and use your wireless charger or your wallet or whatever it is to this particular case and still be worry-free. On the front side, it does not have a built-in screen protector. So again, make sure that you check out Spigen's storefront, so that way you could buy their Z Flip 7 screen protector. And then honestly, I just think that this yellow, navy blue, and coral red, they don't match very well. Let me know if you think the yellow, blue, and red match in the comments below. Okay, so what did you think of all those cases? We had some really name brand cases in there, and then we also had some just kind of other cases in there, like the Owkey case or the VEGO case. They were a little bit more miss than hit, but they are, you know, contenders, especially if you're on a budget. I personally decided to go with the SUPCASE Unicorn Beetle grip case, the one that actually has kind of the kickstand in it, this one right here, and then also has the MagSafe. That way I can go ahead and have my Z Flip open and then have a kickstand on it. I think honestly, it just feels the best. It has the most protection, and the fact that it has a built-in screen protector onto it, and again, that kickstand, it's just kind of a no-brainer. It is a little bit more heavier in the hand, but honestly, I'll take that for the trade-off, because it just seems like it's truly 360-degree protection. So let me know what case that you decide to choose for your Samsung Galaxy Z Flip, and if you're interested in seeing cases for the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, I might have a whole bunch of cases and accessories for the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 coming out very soon. I just can't make that video right now because my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 is actually on back order, so there's that. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps out with just getting my content out there everywhere, so I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one.